Okay. This section is...
Oh, no.
I'm not going to read the whole thing.
Oh, no, he just reads little bits of it. We'd be here forever.
I'm just giving you a little taste. It's like at the ice cream shop where they give you those little tasting spoons, right? So I'm not even going to read whole sections of the chapters. I'm just going to give you a taste of some of the action. This is chapter 10, and Alexandra is off in a swamp. And at this point in time, she's with Herbert the Frog Prince, except she's managed to lose Herbert in the swamp.
Good place for a frog.
Lost someone, have we? The speaker was a strange sight. She was old and bent over, her hair white and tangled with twigs and leaves. Alexandra even saw a bird's nest. Yet, as bent and twisted as she was, she had to look down slightly at Alexandra. I said, have you lost someone? Close your mouth, it isn't polite to stare. I would have thought that a princess would be better raised than that. Alex had to fight against staring again. Obviously, this was a giant, and yet unlike any giant she had ever heard about. Yes, a friend of mine wandered off, and I'm worried about him. Very foolish to wander off about these parts. You might never wander back. Well, I guess you better come with me. I'm going to cook up some frog legs. Care to join us? The old woman smiled as Alexandra gasped and turned pale. She took a hold of the princess's arm and pulled her along. Only now did the young woman notice a wriggling sack gripped in the giantess's other hand. The passage through the bog was fast and sure. Even with Herbert's guidance, Alexandra could never have moved through the fens with such confidence. Soon the causeway was out of sight on the horizon. They passed several apple trees, with small green fruit growing on the branches, even a small grove of trees gone wild and twisted. The ground was getting drier and easier to find a path. The sun was low in the west when they arrived at the small hill. It looked immense in comparison with the flat bog around it. They climbed up the grassy slope to a pleasant cottage at the top, or it would have been pleasant if it hadn't been the size of a barn. Inside, the giantess tossed her sack into a barrel and put a lid on it. Pesky creatures, frogs, always hopping out of wherever you put them. She waved Alexandra to an immense chair. Let me put on the kettle to boil. We can have tea, and then boil some frog legs. No, I mean, please don't. You're right. Perhaps fried would be better. Please, Alexandra took a deep breath. My friend that wandered off, he's a frog. You brought a pet frog into the fens? That was very foolish of you. She continued to bustle around, making preparations. It's a bit more complicated than that. He's my friend, not a pet. And he wasn't always a frog. Then that was even more foolish of you. I suppose you have some way of identifying your friend. I mean, what if he lost the ability to talk and got mixed up with a bunch of other frogs? How would you know which was him? If he were in that barrel, how would you know? The princess sat in the chair and stared at the barrel. I'm sure I would. I'm not adverse to having a bit of a game. Now, here are the rules. Your friend is in that barrel. You must tell me which one is him. If you can't, then my boy will get a good breed of princess to go with his frog legs. And one other thing, you can't kiss the frogs. That would be too easy now, wouldn't it?